Hello everyone. So in this session, I am going to start object-oriented in Groovy. So let's understand what is object-oriented programming language. So first up, we need to understand in object-oriented programming language objects. So what is the objects? Objects are key to understand object-oriented technology language. If you look around right now, and you will find many example of your real world object like your dog, your desk, your television, your bicycle. That is an object. So it means any real world entity is called as an object. So object we can call as a real world entity. It means anything that you can describe in this word is known as an object. So anything which physically exists in this world, sorry, each card as an object. So if you look around right now, whatever you will find, that is an object. So objects are real world entities. And now, what is the object? We can say objects are also known as real world entity, and object is also known as instance of a class. If anything which exists in the form of object, object has state and behavior. So object mainly has three characteristics. One is the state, another one is the behavior, and identity. So let's understand what is the state. What is the state of an object? So suppose we have take one scenario, and within that scenario we have tried to understand what is an state. So suppose this is a mobile, yes, no. So if it is an object, so mobile object can have these characteristics like what is the cost of the mobile, what is the model number, what is the company name, and what is the operating system. And this is known as now characteristics of a mobile object. It means these characteristics basically hold the information for your mobile object that is called a state. Suppose cost of this mobile object is a 10,000, so we can say its cost state is a 1,000, 10,000, and cost of that mobile object can be changed time to time. So it means object has an state. A state means characteristics, yeah, properties we can say, which basically used to hold the information for object. So suppose if you want to find some information about an object, just like which model your mobile has, what is the model number for your mobile. So using model number properties of a mobile object, you can fetch their model number information. Which operating system is there in your mobile. Now, if you want to fetch their operating system detail, so mobile object has one characteristics like more operating system, which mainly contain their operating system detail. So these are characteristics, and these characteristics basically associated with your mobile object. So through mobile, you can fetch these details. So it means state means characteristics which mainly used to store the information for your object. And next one we have behavior. Behavior means the action which can be done by an object. So we have like behavior, calling behavior, and we have SMS behavior. So it means using that mobile object, you can call to someone and you can send SMS to someone. So it means the action that can be done by an object is called as behavior on object. So what action we can perform through that mobile object, that we can call its behavior. So it means object mainly contains these two things. One is a characteristics, another is a behavior. Characteristics means the properties mainly which used to store for an information for an object, and behavior basically indicating what action you can perform by that object. And we have one more thing, that is identity. Identity is just like a characteristics, but that attribute or that characteristics which contain unique value for that object, by which we can uniquely identify that object in this real world, that is called as the identity for an object. So what is the state for an object? So state means is nothing. The data present inside object of a class at any point of time is known as state of an object. What the behavior of an object, the functionality which are associated with the object is called as a behavior of an object. Now, state of the object changes from time to time depending on the functionality that are executed on object, but whereas behavior object won't be changed. Now let's then what is a class? So object means any real world entity which physically exists is called an object. Then your then one question comes into your mind, what is then a class then? So let's now we understand what is a class. So let's take one scenario here. Suppose if you want to build your own house. So if you want to build your own house, before building your own house, first of all, you need to draw a plan how you want to construct the house, which type house needs to be constructed. So for that, you are going to draw one map. So basically what map contain? Map contain basically idea and plans to construct your house. Behalf on that map, you can start to construct the house. So we can say map just like a class which contain the logical structure for creating a house. So we can say we can create a house, we can build a house behalf on that map structure. So map just like a logical structure. It not contain physical existence. Behalf on that logical structure, we can build a physical structure. That physical structure we can call as now object, and that logical structure which describes how house needs to be constructed, that is called as a class. So similar here, you can compare yes or no class and object with this scenario. So class, just like we can say, is a blueprint, or we can say logical structure for creating an object. So class is nothing just like logical model for creating an object. Suppose if you want to build an object, so object mainly what contain characteristics and behavior. So it means this particular object type can have which type property, which type behavior. So first of all, we need to define one template in which we are defining the structure of an object, and behalf on that template, we can create the instance of a class. So just like here, we can understand class is nothing, class is the blueprint of an object. It means before creating any object, first of all, you need to define its class. So just like we have defined one class, student. So student is a class. So if any object is said to be student type, so it means first we have defined one student class, and then student class can have what characteristics and what behavior. So we have defined these are state. Suppose student can have name, age, color, and sex, and then we are defining the behavior. So student can eating, student can drink, student can running, student can study. So we have defined first of all this template, and now here we specify we have student class, and if any object is said to be student type, then student type object can have these are state and these are behavior. So let's now we are creating one student instance behalf on that template. So let's we have created one two student instance. So this is a one student instance, this is a second student instance. And now this student instance having these are state and behavior. This means now this instance having these are state, name, age, color, and sex. Name value suppose for this student is a Scott, age value is a 10, and so on. Now this student can perform these behavior like eating, drinking, running, and studying. Similar, we have created one more student object. So now this is also student object type. So this object is also student type. So this object can have also these are state and behavior. So let's now we define. So if you want to define, if you want to create any object, so first of all, you need to define the template. Just like we have bird class. So which type object is said to be bird type? So first of all, we need to define its template. So now suppose here we define bird, and now we have decided what the characteristics possible for the bird type. Suppose we have each bird can have name, color, can swim, average lifetime, and weight, and bird can have behavior like fly and walk. Now, based on that template, we have created an object. So suppose there are two objects we have created. Now, each object has these are characteristics and behavior. So each object has yes or no these characteristics and behavior. So each object has these are characteristics. Characteristics property can have a common, but value of the property can be vary object to object. Suppose this bird object name is a sparrow, but for this bird, yes or no, you can check here, name is a penguin. So these are two objects is bird type which contain these common characteristics. Actually, class mainly what contain? Class contain mainly common characteristics and behavior for an object. So if any object is a bird type, that bird type object can have these are characteristics and behavior. So characteristics value can be vary object to object. So each object has these characteristics and behavior. So in this way, here you can create now, you can define a class and object. So let's now here we try to understand how we can create a class. So here I'm going to create suppose very simple class like fruits class first tuple. So you can use keyword like class keyword. You can use class keyword to create a class. And then after that you need to define class name. So you can check how you can create a class. So you can use class and class keyword. So, okay, let's understand first syntax. If you want to create a class, so first of all, you need to create a class. So you can use class keyword and then you can write class name. And after that, you can curly braces open and close. Now this class is open and close. So class mainly what contains? Class contains mainly two things, data member and data method. It means properties, the characteristics that object can have, and behavior means the action that can be performed by an object. So data member, data property you can define using variable, and behavior you can define inside the class using method in programming language in Groovy. So let's here we define one class like fruits class, and now fruits class contains property like a fruit name, and then you have fruit color. Suppose we have two property, one is a fruit name and second one is a fruit color. So you can define class, and within a class you can define a property. So let's we declare a property like a string. So here we define a string and then we have defined the property like a fruit. And then we have defined the fruit name. So you can define any property as per your requirement, whatever you have required. Okay, so let's now first we define, okay, let's we define one very simple fruit name. So first we define this property, fruit name, and then second property have defined a string, fruit color, fruit color. So let's we define this property. Now your class is ready. And then in this class, you can define main method also, like public static, just no void main. You can define main method. You can define main method. So I have created one class, and this class we have defined main method, public static void main. So suppose we have created this class. Now we have created one class fruits. Now this fruit class contain how many properties? This fruit class contain two properties. There are two properties in your class. Okay, so string args. Now, if you want to create an instance, suppose if you want to use this fruit class contains these two property, fruit name. So the variable that we have declared inside the class directly, those variable we can call as a instance variable. Then we can say property for in your object. So it means any fruit can have this property, fruit name and fruit color. So let's, if you want to create an object, if you want to create any object, yes or no, of any class, so you can create an object using new keyword. You can write new, and then for which class you want to create an object, you can specify the name of that class, new class name, new class name. Suppose you want to create an object for fruit class, so new fruits, you can write fruit, new fruits. So you can create an object for which class, fruits class. So if you want to create an object for any class, you can create an object using new keyword, new, and now which type fruit object you want to create, fruits type. This means one object is created. Now which type object you have created, fruit type. So to store that fruit type object, we require to declare which type variable, fruit type. Suppose I declare one variable like apple. So we have declared one variable, you can give any name, and then so you can check it. This apple can have two property, name and color. So suppose here we give the name meaningful name fruit1. This is a fruit1 object. Now this fruit1 can have two property. One is the name and color. So let's now we are try to access println fruit1 dot fruit name and println fruit1 dot fruit color. Let's now we clear it, and now we try to run it. and check here. Okay, sorry. Okay, so okay, let me create. Yes, no, we public static void main. Okay, I created separate class. Let's wait try. So we have created fruits.groovy. Groovy class. I have created one class like fruits.groovy. So this is a Groovy fruits class. Now go to the demo.groovy. In this class, suppose we have declared this property. So class fruits, and now we have closed it. Fruit class, fruit name and fruit class. And demo.groovy. Let's now we create two fruit object. Let's now we create the fruit class object. I have created fruit class object. Let's save it. Now you can clear it again and demo.groovy. Okay, now you can check it. What it's giving? Null value as of now. Why? You can check it. This is a class fruit class. You have defined fruit class. Fruit class contains two property, fruit name and fruit color. But while you creating the fruit class object is created. It means what happened in the background? In the background, it means one object is created. Yes, no, one object is created, and this object contains two property, fruit name and fruit color. Fruit name, fruit color, fruit color. Now we have two properties. But this property we have not initialized. Just object we have created, but we have not initialized that object. Now this object we are pointing by this reference variable. This reference variable is pointing to that object. Okay, so now what we want to do after creating the object, we want to initialize. So this line actually indicating what indicating this line indicating object creation. Yes, no object creation. Root class, roots class creation. And then we have now initialize the object. If you want to initialize a fruit object. How we can initialize? Using fruit dot and a fruit name and a fruit name. So we can initialize fruit name like apple and the fruit when that fruit color. Now we initialize suppose a red value. So this is the initialization of, and then we are fetching, fetching fruit fruit details. Let's save it. If you run again, now you can check here. You can check your fruit name is apple and fruit name is a red. So this is a one way you can check here. We have created one fruit instance. How many instances we have created? Only one object, and this object has two properties. One is a fruit name, and now we initialize the value as apple. Now we have created another fruit object. We have one object which contains two properties: fruit name and color. Fruit name value is apple, and color its color value is red. Okay, so you have one object. You can use that fruit object, and that fruit object contains yes or no one two property. What property? That is a fruit name and fruit color. Okay, if you want to create one more object, yes, no. So again, whenever you want to create new object, so you can creating creating one more new fruit object, new fruit object. So whenever you want to create fruit object, yes, no, very simple, a new keyword and then specify the class name. What the class name? Class name is a fruits. So you can write new fruits. new fruits, and then you can store that fruit object into different variable. So I have declared one variable fruits. I have declared one variable like fruits, and now I give the name like fruit2, fruit2. So what happen again? Again, new memory will be created. So whenever you will create a new object, again new memory will be created. And now this fruit object having also two property. What is the fruit name? Fruit name, fruit name, and second one is the fruit color. Fruit color. So now it also has two properties, fruit name and fruit color. So fruit name, as of now, just we have created an object, we have not initialized an object. So this is a fruit2. So now we have fruit2. So we have fruit1 and fruit2. There are two type fruit. Now we have just create a fruit, we have not initialized. So if you want to initialize, so how you can initialize? You can initialize using that property name, uh, object name. What's the object name? Fruit2. So you can write fruit2 dot fruit name, and you can give like banana, and fruit2 dot fruit color. And now suppose its color value is yellow. Now if you want to display that fruit name, so again, how you can fetch? Which fruit? Fruit2 detail required. So you can write fruit2 dot fruit name and then fruit2 dot fruit color. So now we can run it. You can check it. Now this is the second fruit detail. So in this way, yes, no, we can create our fruit class. Okay. So go to the fruit class. In this fruit class, you can check here as of now, you have defined how many properties? You have defined two properties. So my requirement, no one can access this property outside the class, then you can make those property as a private. So if you want, if no one allowed to access this property outside the class directly, then if no one allowed to access this property outside the class directly, then you can make as a private. So let's here we are using private modifier. So private modifier what does? Whatever property you have defined within a class, those property you can access only within a class, but outside the class you can't access. Go to the demo.groovy. If you run it, now you can check here. If you save it, let's save it, and now you can clear it. So here you can check, go to the fruits class. In the fruit class, we have defined two properties, fruit name and fruit color. Okay, if you want, suppose whatever property you have defined, suppose now we have defined one property, fruit name. So fruit name property later on for any fruit, you can set new value, you can set new value, or you can fetch the value. So there are two things. You can set the value to the fruit name, or you can fetch the fruit, get the fruit value. You can get the fruit value. So okay, whenever you require to set and get any property value, so more better you can define one method like set and get, setter and getter. Using for each property within a class, whatever property you are defining, for each property you can define one getter and setter method. Getter is like a method, normal method, but give a meaningful name. Just like if you want to set the fruit value, so you can define method like def. So suppose we have one property, which property? Fruit name. For this property, I want to define one getter method. Yes, setter method. So you can write def and then method name. Set keyword you can write. After that set, you can write the property name. For which property you want to define? Fruit name. So you can give like fruit name. And this will take one parameter like name. And now, whatever parameter it will take, whenever you want to set fruit name value, you can call this method on that object by passing your value. Whatever value you're passing, that value you can set directly into the fruit name. So we are initializing the fruit name value by using this parameter. Okay, whenever you want to get the fruit name, so def get, you can write the get for which property value you want to retrieve. Fruit name. So you can write that property name, get fruit name. And now this property is simply what return? This property is simply return the fruit name value. Fruit name value. Fruit name value. So we have defined this property. Similar, I want to define one getter and setter method for fruit color. So how you can define? Def set, I want to set. For which property I want to define? For color. Set fruit color. And then you can take a parameter like color, and then you can set your fruit color value equal to color. And then here you can define method get fruit color, and now you can return the fruit color. So now in this way you can check we have defined one class. In this class we have two property and we have these are method. So whenever you want to set new fruit value, you can set. Whenever you want to return, so you can return the fruit. You can get the fruit value by using the fruit name. Okay, so we have created test.py file, Groovy file. Now in this file we have tried to test. Okay, so let's come back in demo.groovy. We comment all this. Yes, no. So we comment this file and let's add block comment. Okay, let's remove it. Suppose you want to create a fruit. How you can create fruits? Fruit1 equal to new fruit. You can create a fruit class object. Once you create a fruit class object, now what you want to set the fruit detail. You want to set the fruits detail. In the fruit detail, you have two things, name and color. So in the fruit1, there is a method set fruit color. You can check it. You can set the color for a fruit. Suppose I set the color as a red. And if you want to set the fruit name, so on fruit1, there is a method is available set fruit name. Just call this method. And by calling this method, you can pass the value. So it means this method basically helps to set initialize your fruit details. So we have created one fruit with name fruit1 and whose name is apple, and we have initialized as a value as a red. Okay, if you want to fetch their detail, println which fruit detail fruit1. So there is a method get fruit name. So this method basically return the name for your fruit. Println the fruit1 dot get fruit color. So basically what it return? It return the name for your fruit. And then you can save this file and run and you can check it. So you can check here your fruit name is a apple and your color is a yellow. So in this way, yes or no, first of all, you can define your class. In the class, you can define a property, and then you can define for each property getter and setter method to set and get the property value. So while you're returning the name of a fruit name value, here you can write whatever you want to write down. Suppose I'm using string interpolations within double quote, yes or no, I'm writing like name of the fruit, name of the fruit, name of the fruit is. And now here we want to use that property name, so dollar, and then here interpolation you can use dollar curly braces. Here we want to display the fruit name. And similar, suppose name for the color for the fruit. Suppose if you want to set just like, so just like here we are writing color of the fruit, yes, no, color of the fruit, and now here fruit color. If you save it, go to the demo.groovy. If you run again, and now check here. You can check name of your fruit is apple and color of the fruit is red. So in this way, you can use object-oriented programming language. In object-oriented programming language, there are two main things, object and class. So first of all, you need to define a class because class define the structure, a template, blueprint for an object. And now you want to use that blueprint. So then anywhere, suppose you have defined class fruit. Fruit class contain two properties like fruit name and fruit color. If you want to use anywhere, you can use those properties just by creating an instance of that fruit class. So you can create an object that class. How you can create an object of any class? So you can create an object of a class using new keyword, new and then class name. You can give the name of the class for which class you want to create an object. And once you create an object, using that object, you can access all the properties and behavior that you have defined inside the class. So once you create the object, yes, no, you can access all the properties and behaviors that you have defined inside the class anywhere. So outside the class, yes, no, suppose if you want to access those class features, you can access anywhere just by creating the instance of the class. Just create the object of that class. After creating the object of the class, you can access all the properties and behavior of the class. So this is a way to define a class, and this is a way how to can create the instance of class and how can access class features. I hope it's clear. Thank you.